When we think of work, most people believe it begins with action, the movement of hands, the rushing of feet, the constant doing. But that is not where correct work begins. Action without direction is like a boat rowing furiously in circles. You may sweat, you may feel exhausted, but in the end you discover you are still in the same place. Correct work begins with clarity. Clarity is the root. Without it, no matter how much effort you invest, it will not bear fruit. Before a painter touches the canvas, he has an image in his mind. Before an archer draws the bow, his eyes are fixed on the target. Why? Because intention shapes the action. Too many people wake up each morning and dive into their tasks without first understanding why they are doing them. They confuse motion with progress, noise with productivity. But the one who stops for a moment, breathes deeply and asks, why am I doing this? What exactly do I want to create? That person multiplies the power of every step that follows. Clarity is not about having a 10-year plan written down in perfect detail. It is about removing the fog from your mind so that your next step is purposeful. It is about aligning your energy with direction. Think about it. A river flows strongly because it is confined by banks that guide it forward. Without those banks, the water disperses into a swamp, stagnant and without strength. Your clarity is the riverbank of your effort. This is why so many people feel exhausted at the end of their day and yet unsatisfied. They worked, yes, but they did not work correctly. Their energy leaked into tasks that did not matter. They gave themselves to urgencies instead of priorities, and so they confused business with accomplishment. When clarity is absent, life becomes a reaction. When clarity is present, life becomes creation. Do not be afraid of slowing down in order to ask the right questions. To pause before you act is not weakness, it is wisdom. The seconds you invest in defining your purpose will save you years of walking the wrong path. Work correctly by first seeing clearly. Remember, this unclear effort is wasted effort. But one clear step is worth more than 1,000 blind movements. Once clarity is established, the next challenge is how to sustain your movement. This is where most people stumble, because they confuse motivation with the real force that carries them forward. Motivation is like a spark. It burns bright for a moment, but it fades. Discipline is the firewood. It sustains the flame through the night. If you rely on motivation alone, you will rise quickly and fall just as quickly. If you build discipline, you create a foundation that does not depend on moods, feelings, or the changing weather of your emotions. We all know the experience of waking up inspired one day, ready to conquer the world, only to wake up the next with no energy, no drive, and the same goals waiting to be acted upon. If your work is fueled only by motivation, then your results will rise and fall with your emotional state. But if your work is built on discipline, then you continue regardless of how you feel. You do not ask, do I want to? You simply act, because you have trained yourself to do what needs to be done, independent of fleeting emotions. This is what it means to work correctly, not when it feels convenient but when it is necessary. Correct work is not about indulging in bursts of energy, it is about consistency, rhythm, reliability. It is the quiet repetition of effort that shapes character and brings results. In this way, discipline becomes a form of freedom, because once your body and mind are trained to act without hesitation, you no longer waste energy negotiating with yourself every morning. You simply begin, and in beginning, you discover momentum. Philosophically, discipline is a declaration of values. It says, I have chosen this path and my actions will honor it whether or not my feelings agree. Psychologically, discipline creates trust within yourself. Each time you follow through, even when it is difficult, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. This self-trust becomes the backbone of confidence. Correct work cannot be mastered without discipline, because clarity alone is not enough. You may know exactly what to do, but without the will to repeat it daily, your knowledge remains unused. Discipline is what transforms clarity into achievement. So remember this, motivation may start the journey, but discipline carries you to the destination. Once discipline has given you the strength to act consistently, the question becomes, where will you direct that strength? This is where focus enters. Many people spend their energy scattering their attention across countless tasks, believing that doing more means achieving more. But the truth is the opposite. The mind that chases too many things achieves nothing of depth. Correct work is not about how much you do. It is about how deeply you commit to the task before you. Imagine sunlight. When it spreads across the earth, it warms, it nourishes, but it does not burn. Yet if you take that same light and concentrate it through a lens, it gains the power to ignite fire. The energy is the same, but the focus transforms its potential into impact. This is how your mind works. Unfocused, your energy warms many places but changes little. Focused, it can transform your life. The world today is filled with distractions designed to fragment your attention. Every sound, every notification, every shifting demand pulls your mind in different directions. And many people mistake this constant switching as productivity. But to divide your attention is to weaken it. You may touch many things, but you leave no imprint. Correct work demands the opposite. Immerse yourself fully in one task at a time, complete it with depth, then move on. Philosophically, focus is an act of respect. Respect for the task, respect for your own energy, respect for the present moment. Psychologically, focus creates flow, the state where time disappears and action feels effortless. It is in this state that mastery is born. But you can only enter flow when you remove distractions and give yourself permission to be fully absorbed. Focus also teaches humility. To focus is to admit that you cannot do everything at once, and that greatness comes not from scattering yourself thin, but from giving yourself fully to what truly matters. This is not limitation, it is liberation. Because when you focus, you free yourself from the endless noise of what does not matter. Correct work is never the result of divided effort. It is the result of a mind and body moving as one in the same direction. So remember this, scattered energy produces scattered results, but focused energy creates power. Even when clarity is present, discipline established, and focus sharpened, there is still a trap that many fall into, the trap of business. It is easy to fill the hours, to rush from one task to another, to feel the satisfaction of being occupied. But activity alone is not accomplishment. You can spend a lifetime being busy and still remain far from where you truly wish to be. Correct work is not measured by how much you do, but by how meaningful and effective your actions are. Think of a person digging in the wrong place. They can dig with great speed, with impressive strength, for long hours without rest. Yet no matter how hard they work, they will not find water if the well is elsewhere. Efficiency is not about movement. It is about movement in the right direction. And this is what separates those who create progress from those who simply tire themselves out. Business often comes from fear. Fear of standing still, fear of missing out, fear of confronting the essential. So people fill their days with small tasks that make them feel useful, but bring no true progress. Efficiency, on the other hand, requires courage. It demands that you ask uncomfortable questions. Does this really matter? Is this worth my energy? Or am I simply avoiding what is most important? Philosophically, efficiency is alignment. It is the harmony between intention and action. Psychologically, it requires awareness, because efficiency cannot exist without the ability to step back and see the bigger picture. It is not about doing everything. It is about doing the few things that move you forward. When you work efficiently, you protect your most valuable resources, your time, your energy, and your attention. You stop scattering them across trivial pursuits, and instead invest them where they yield true return. This is how great progress is made, not through endless business but through deliberate and purposeful effort. Correct work does not glorify being busy, it values being effective. It does not celebrate how many hours you spent, but what those hours produced. In this way, efficiency is not less work, it is better work. So remember this: business is movement without progress, but efficiency is progress with purpose. When people hear the words discipline, focus, and efficiency, many assume that correct work means endless strain, a life of constant pushing without pause. But this is a misunderstanding. True work is not only about exertion, it is about rhythm. Just as the heart beats with contraction and release, and the lungs function through inhaling and exhaling, correct work requires both effort and rest. If you force one side and neglect the other, imbalance is created, and imbalance eventually leads to collapse. Think of a sword. If you sharpen it without pause, without allowing it to rest, eventually it becomes brittle and breaks. The same is true for the human mind and body. When you overextend yourself, when you refuse to allow moments of renewal, your productivity diminishes and your spirit weakens. Working correctly means understanding that rest is not laziness. Rest is strategy. It is the deliberate choice to renew yourself so that you can return stronger, clearer, and more effective. Many resist this idea because they equate rest with weakness. They believe stopping is failure. But what is the value of a warrior who trains until his body collapses, unable to fight the battle when it arrives? What is the value of a worker who spends years burning without pause, only to lose health, vitality, and joy? Rest is not the opposite of work. It is part of the work. It is what gives your effort sustainability. Philosophically, balance reflects harmony with nature. Everything in the universe moves in cycles: day and night, tide and ebb, growth and decay. To deny yourself rest is to act against the natural order, and eventually nature always corrects imbalance. Psychologically, rest allows the subconscious to process, to integrate, to restore. Often, solutions and insights arise not during the struggle, but in the quiet after it. The one who learns to rest correctly multiplies the value of their effort. They know when to push forward with strength, and they know when to withdraw to regain it. This balance creates longevity, resilience, and clarity of mind. So remember this: to work without rest is to exhaust yourself before reaching your destination, but to balance effort with renewal is to make your journey endless. Even with clarity, discipline, focus, efficiency, and balance, there is still one more element that determines whether your work truly carries power. That element is presence. Too often, people bring only their bodies to the task while their minds wander elsewhere. They are working, yes, but their attention is scattered, divided between the past, the future, and countless distractions. In this state, the work becomes mechanical, hollow, without depth. To work correctly means to be fully present, to pour your complete awareness into the moment and the task at hand. Presence transforms even the smallest action into something meaningful. Washing the dishes, writing a single line, or speaking to one person, when done with full attention, carries a quality that is unmistakable. You feel it and others can sense it too. This is because presence is not just physical engagement, it is the union of body and mind in one direction. Without presence, you are never truly here, and if you are never here, then your work lacks the essence of life. The modern world is designed to fracture presence. Notifications, endless noise, the constant demand to be everywhere at once. These things train the mind to never stay still, never go deep. But mastery requires depth. You cannot master anything if you only touch it on the surface while your thoughts drift elsewhere. Correct work is not just about what you do, it is about how you do it. Philosophically, presence is the highest form of respect. Respect for yourself, because you are giving your full being to the moment. Respect for the task, because you are not treating it as a burden, but as an opportunity to practice excellence. And respect for life itself, because life only ever happens now, not in the regrets of the past or the fantasies of the future. Psychologically, presence creates peace. When you are fully absorbed in the present, the weight of yesterday and the uncertainty of tomorrow cannot touch you. This clarity of mind allows your actions to flow naturally, without resistance. Presence, then, is the final refinement of correct work. It is what makes your effort not only effective but also meaningful. So remember this: if your body is here but your mind is elsewhere, your work is empty. But when your body and mind unite in the present, even the smallest action becomes powerful.